Welcome to episode 71 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies, plus tips, apps, and gear. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week is Mr. Mike LaPlante, musician extraordinaire, and of course, a YouTuber vlogger. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing very well, David, and yourself?
Doing great. Glad to have you back on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always fun talking to you about Mac stuff, and you're the first person I've talked to since Mac stock. Actually got to be able to geek out about anything Apple related.
Yeah. If everybody remembers Mac stock back in July, we had a blast, and you and I hung out a little bit and had some fun, and there was a lot to talk about, and it was a lot of fun. And because you do your wine of I guess you're calling it a vlog, right? A vlog or a video log, or
I have a YouTube channel is all I say.
YouTube channel.
If you had to identify me as anything, I'm a vlogger as opposed to being a podcaster, which I was for 15 years.
Yes.
And and my audio sounded better than it does now.
Yes. Before the show, we were having a little bit of technical difficulties on Mike's end, but that's okay.
I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to go smooth as anything. But anyway, here we are. And we're talking about some stuff to deal with iOS 13.
Stuff, yes. Really, we're going to hit iOS 13. Some more tips that we hadn't already covered, and as I mentioned in my last episode, I was in a brain overload. There's just so much to talk about with iOS 13 and iPad OS. We might even touch upon that a little bit. But with Mike having a little bit of the music in him, we wanted to talk a little bit about the music app because there was some changes with that, and we'll hit that and Apple TV. We're going to talk about that a little bit and some more new features, and got a couple tips for iOS 13, as well as we've got a couple app picks this week. So lots to talk about. We'll get into it. But of course, you always like to start off with some of the news stories of the day. The Verge, that was our first story here, has an article about iPhone 11's Deep Fusion camera has arrived with the iOS 13.2 beta. I know Apple has released so many different versions of their operating system in the last 2 weeks. It's been crazy. You went from 13.0 to 13.1 to 13.11, then you went to 13.2. And that's where we're at currently. And yeah. And we're at 13.1.2 currently, and now of course right away they already put out the beta number 1 of 13.2, and the biggest thing that it's standing out that is the fact that Apple is including this new, and they talked about it before, this Deep Fusion photography system, which is going to be an amazing way it processes a lot of the stuff on the iPhone. Later iPhones, of course, could be the 10R to 10 and higher, the 10 series. What was your thoughts on this? Have you looked at a lot of the camera stuff yet?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things that is compelling me to get a new phone. Like, I just got the watch, so I'm going to wait a little bit. But the Deep Fusion, I honestly thought was just restricted to the iPhone 11s.
And you might be right, because
So this is one of the instances where that Apple does this quite often. They'll sell you a phone, and then there is a feature that is tied to the operating system that you can only use on that phone. So it compels you to buy that piece of hardware, even though maybe 2 years from now that feature or that functionality will be accessible through their whole line of phones at some point. But right now, as it sits, Deep Fusion is one of those technologies that's in the new operating system, but it's not in the one that's currently available. You have your phone, but you're not able to get at this Deep Fusion functionality, which basically it's great for indoor photography and low light photography, not to be confused with night mode, which is a way that it uses the lenses on the cameras on the iPhone 11, which are amazing lenses, some of the best on any smartphone. And you're able to set your exposure time there as well. Whereas Deep Fusion is more a whole system of processing your photos. It's very similar to HDR, HDR, but it's not exactly the same. Basically, it takes long exposure of what you're going to take a picture of, and then takes 3 shorter exposures, and takes the tone and the color of one and the exposure of the others, and then it mixes it all together again and does some high-end computing. Usually, the way that this works is they weigh certain things in a photo, and obviously Apple has the software within their Photos app and their Camera app that allows them to know what they're taking a picture of, whether it's a person or a mountain or whatever. So what it'll do is it'll weight like the wall or the sky lower than it would weight something like hair and eyes and fabric and stuff like that. So that's what this Deep Fusion's all about. And if you got an iPhone 11, I think you're going to really be digging. I think it's really taking smartphone photography to yet another level.
100%. It's computational photography. I mean, that's really where it is now with these newer cameras,
newer processors, image sensors. It's just it's right at it's peaking right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. So it really is, and as everybody knows now, I've been on many podcasts as well as mine here, that I do have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and the Pro Max is a pretty amazing phone. I tell you that.
Have you played with night mode much, David?
I have. Yeah, we just, in fact, during the Apple user group meeting I had on Tuesday, we did a demonstration in the room and turned the lights all out in the room, and just pointed at a subject, the person, with some light coming in, but not very much. But you could see him when you looked at him, it was dark. But then when you took the picture and went and looked at the picture after the fact, it was like you never even thought he was in a dark room. It was just absolutely amazing. And that was just a simple test. I want to get out into the field, go out and take pictures of real cool things that will really have this put some challenges to this camera. So it's definitely, I'm definitely digging it.
And the reason for buying the iPhone 11 Pro Max was because of the cameras. Is that was one of your major influences, or what was it that drew you to that phone particularly?
I like the larger size phones. I've always had them. So the previous one I had was the XS Max, and I've had the 8 Plus, and then I had the 10 for a brief time, which technically had a bigger screen, but it was a smaller phone. But I just like the larger size screen. That's what I like about this phone, and it's the same size I had already had with the XS Max. So that was my influence. But if I didn't get the bigger size, I mean the 11 Pro, which is basically its sister, is the exact same phone, just smaller size.
Right. So what happened to your XS Max phone? Where'd that go?
Well, initially, what happened is every year when I'm on the Apple trade-in program, so I would trade the phone in, trade the phone in. But actually, this year, my sister-in-law was overdue for a new phone. She had 6S Plus. She likes the plus size phone, the larger size phone too. So she purchased it and got a good deal doing that, because it cost her half the cost of her having to spend on. She paid for it outright, but it'd be half the cost of buying the 11 Pro Max. So
right.
So my phone for your old phone still lives within the family.
That's awesome.
So 13.2 beta 1 is out right now. It's only with developers.
Developer beta. Yeah.
It's a developer beta, so you have to have a developer's account in order to access it. But there will be, I can almost guarantee there'll be a public beta that'll be expected pretty soon here. Apple's been pretty quick about turning things around. If you had noticed, Mike, just lately, just very strange stuff. I mean, just the fact that they before the 11 series came out, they had already announced 13.1. So I was just crazy how that's happened.
What does that make anybody? You don't even have to be a geek to figure out what's going on there. 13.0 is stay away from me territory, basically.
Yeah, but unfortunately, when we got the phone on ship day, when I received it, it had 13.0 right off the bat. I had no choice. So
you had no choice, right? And I bought a new Apple Watch the day it came out, and I had no choice either, because it says you have to update to the latest version of the operating system, or you can't set up your phone.
Right.
Your watch.
Right. Oh, that's right. Because you're on your old phone, right?
So I had to update. I could not believe how buggy it was. Did you have issues with bugginess on 13.0 and 13.1?
It did have some bugs. It has some bugs to it, but not
stuff
so bad.
That you would never expect, though. It's like total redrawing of the screen kind of stuff. Like you go to flip something like Facebook, even you flip it on its side and you go to flip it back, it would stay in the previous orientation. Like wacky stuff that I would only experience using Windows or something.
So they didn't really rush it out, honestly. But they you know what? They react quickly. They got the bugs fixed, and they're being very aggressive with updates. So if they're already ready for 13.2, then obviously Apple's is on a quick, accelerated pace here to get the best.
Especially
the best
with one of the main selling features of the 11 phones being their camera, and one of the major features of the camera is deep fusion. You better get that sucker out quicker. Slower.
Exactly. So, and then another thing that was kind of a little interesting thing is I've also got this article in 9to5Mac that it was showing a little icon that looks a lot different than how the AirPods look now.
Yes,
and it was this was in 9to5Mac. There had been some rumors about the noise cancellation, AirPods with noise cancellation that's out there, but there was a glyph found in iOS 13.2 that reveals that the new AirPods with noise cancellation will look like, and then they almost look like earbuds. I'm hoping if that looks like similar to like even the Beats, like the similar ones you have, that they'll have interchangeable earpod for your ear, because that's
they're going to be in here for sure. Yeah, it seems that way, because there were some photos that came out. What was that last week? Some guy had some photos of prototypes, and it looked like basically what that glyph looks like without the rubber pieces on the end of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I see that. That's actually in the 9to5Mac article. There's some pictures of that.
Right. So that's interesting that they're making the AirPods go in ear and also giving them noise cancellation functionality.
It is.
Are we going to expect a large price increase, I wonder?
You gotta wonder, because look at Bose. Bose has those in-ear noise cancellations, and those
and they're awesome. That's noise cancellation technology taken to the max. It blows me away how good those things. And it's Bose. They sound great too. Yeah,
I've got the headphones, the QC35s. But those are going to be expensive. There's probably no question. They already have their Beats, the Bluetooth wireless ones they just came out with, and those are $250. But I haven't, there's not a lot of people talking about it. But this is going to be interesting to see.
That's what I'm using right now to talk to you, Dave.
Oh, you have the Bluetooth ones. Okay, I thought you had the ones with the wire. My apologies. How do you like them? Do you like them?
I love them because I used to have the Beats X, and that's the one. That's the one with the wire, and they did fit in my ear better than most other earbuds do. But they had the wire, and so I figured the Power Beats Pro with the little wing thing that sits on top of your ear would be better, and it is. It's so much better. It really fits snugly in your ear, so that it doesn't move at all. Like you put it in that spot, and that little rubber piece is snug within your ear, and it's reinforced with the little rubber thing that hangs above your ear.
Yeah.
So I'm digging them. Yeah, and they're relatively flat too, because a lot of Beats headphones, earbuds will usually accentuate the bass, which the Beats X didn't either, and neither do these. They're pretty flat, and they don't accentuate any frequencies that I can tell.
Yeah, and I've got the ones with the wire that were wireless, but with the chin wire.
Right.
And those aren't too bad. I also have I'm a headphone crazed person lately. They got the Beats Studio 3 headphones, because those came free with the purchase of my Mac. So
right.
So I didn't buy those, were free, so I can't say I bought those. But then of course I have my Bose. Those are my de facto headphones for travel. You got to use those for on the plane. They're just the best.
They are, and you see everybody with them.
Oh, you do. Yeah, you always look on the plane. Oh man, look at it. And then they keep them on their ears, even though they're probably not listening to anything. just to noise cancel all the noise in the plane.
Yes.
So
yeah, they're good to have.
So speaking of headphones and listening to good things, we're going to talk about the music app today. I know you were pretty excited about some of the updates to the music app.
Well, I would say that the music app probably got I should say the least amount of love, but it didn't get as much love as, let's say, the Photos app within iOS 13. But they did get a few features that updated it a bit. One of the main things, of course, is the ability to play radio stations. However,
Yes.
that's within Apple Music, yes, but you can do. I think it's more of a Siri thing because you can do it on your HomePod and you can do it on your Mac. It just opens up within Apple Music on my Mac, and of course, the same goes true with my phone as well. I haven't actually tried it on my iPad, but I assume it would open Apple Music as well and play whatever station you ask Siri to play.
Well, you can go in there. There is, I believe, there is the icon radio, and you go to the list. Of course, the Beats One channel is always the first one that they want you to listen to,
because that's what you're always listening to, right, Dave?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. So you can go down and when you go into the radio app, you have that on there, and then the upcoming shows, it tells you what's on and what they're talking about, and not talking about playing music, of course. And you get everything about you want to know about the Beats One channel. But then, interesting enough, the next thing down there is broadcast radio, and I had not really paid attention that closely to it, to what was there until I said, oh wow, there's some stuff in here. And interestingly enough, there, of course, me being from Chicago, they have two or three stations already from Chicago, including news and music and other services, other types of formats. Of course, like Kiss FM in Los Angeles, that's a big station in the United States. I think they did have some Canadian ones too, if I'm not mistaken. Did they?
They're all on there. You can, you know what I mean? Like it's all there. It's full feature because they use services that are already in use.
Right. So iHeartRadio, radio.com, and TuneIn Radio are the biggest services out there for stations. And that's the thing is only certain stations are on radio.com and certain stations are on iHeartRadio and certain are on TuneIn Radio. So and
there is some overlap in there though.
There are a couple here and there that stations that do appear on there. But I was blown away about calling out on my HomePod and say, "Hey, lady," if I say it, she's going to go off here with two HomePods sitting next to me.
Yes.
And I was able to tell to play that station without a problem. And that's what's great about what great about having the radio stations is being able to now listen to stuff on the fly and not have to, who needs a radio anymore? You really just listen to it on your mobile device. And this day and age with everybody having unlimited data for the most part, it's endless. And I've always been an enthusiast of listening to radio stations and old books of looking up what old stations were and all that stuff. So I used to love doing that. The fact of being able to go through and listen to pretty much any station I want is awesome, I think.
Yeah, it's a new paradigm in the whole terrestrial radio, basically, because it's not terrestrial anymore. It's more cyber radio, because that's where a good portion of the folks listen to radio. I mean, obviously, there's people in their cars, but even then, people listening to stuff in their car, they're listening to Sirius, which of course is another version of
Sirius XM. Yep.
Yeah. So
which I'm a subscriber of. So I mean, I'm content overload, but I actually enjoy Sirius. I like the stations that are on there. I've been a subscriber for years, so they've got a lot of good choices of music too. Unfortunately, they don't have it in Siri, but they do have it on the Amazon Echo. So you can so you can get a skill on the Amazon Echo for the Sirius XM apps, and I can listen to Howard Stern when I want to, and just hey lady, play Howard Stern or Howard 100, and I can listen to pretty much any of the channels that are available on Sirius XM on that platform. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they look to see if maybe they dabble into the Apple world soon to have some more places to be playing their stuff. So
your home is outfitted with the whole Amazon ecosystem as well, as far as
I'm
talking to the A lady.
I'm both on both ways. Yep. So I know. Am I crazy or what? I even got Google sitting here too. I have a Google Hub here next to
Come
me.
on.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So I have all three. Have you really the Google Hub, with the small little screen, which actually is not a bad little device, and it works with your iPhone quite nicely too. And if you want to send a stream from YouTube, like if I want to watch your YouTube channel, I can just send it over right from the phone and bring it onto that TV, and I can sit and watch it right here next to me. And it's nice because it's small and it's something I want to listen to in the background and not have and of course I have a TV next to me too. So I'm immersed in technology here. I have to tell you. So,
so the Amazon thing, do you have a show? Do you have one of those?
I didn't get that. I draw the line. I've got the Echoes, the 2-tube Echoes, and I've got, of course, everybody has the Echo Dots. I know they just came out with some new stuff, and they probably should do a show on that soon. Talk about that with.
Well, when that stuff comes out in November, Dave, give me a call. We'll discuss that because that is really a HomePod competitor, the Echo Studio.
Yeah, I didn't look. I know they had announcements. I didn't look real close at it yet, but I think maybe
that was the one
that'll be our next. That'll be our next show when you come out, and you'll come on and we'll talk it.
All right, sounds good.
But yeah, no, I've been an Amazon user for pretty much since it's come out. So and it sounds like you have been as well.
No, not at all.
Oh no, okay.
I'm not even part of that ecosystem. Obviously, I know a lot about it, and because.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm pretty much locked into the Apple ecosystem with the HomePods and stuff. Yeah.
I'm actually loving the HomePods, and in fact, today I just saw an advertisement. I forgot what store it was that was selling the HomePod for $199, and so they're really dropping prices on that thing.
Was it Costco? Because I know over here, Costco.
Maybe it was Costco. Maybe it was Costco. Yeah. So they're selling them for really cheap.
New HomePods coming out in October, along with everything else that they're going to be announcing new. Like,
were they going to announce new? I didn't know about new HomePods.
Well, why are they dropping the prices? I wonder, because we know we're going to get new iPads because those are on sale at Costco too.
I saw that they were selling Amazon this morning. They're selling an iPad Pro 11-inch for $799 with cellular, which was crazy. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff with it. But speaking of the HomePod, I was just absolutely thrilled to being able to just talk to her. I got her voice to play on the radio station, and also I think and podcasts are great too. When I asked to play my off the charts podcast, my other podcast I do for horse racing, it worked beautifully. Just ask the name. I didn't have to get specific. Also probably helps that it's in the podcasts app. But the thing is, all three of these services, iHeartRadio, radio.com, and TuneIn, which probably two of those three this podcast is available on, iHeart and TuneIn, it's able to play it by just asking play In Touch with iOS, which is cool.
Yeah. Podcasts are very accessible. Lots of aggregators out there, and they're available on all those three platforms we just talked about. Yep. And I'm digging it, the fact that you can get podcasts everywhere.
So let's unless you had anything else about radio stations and the music app.
The music app, there's the whole lyrics thing.
That's when I move on to the lyrics. Yep. Mm-hmm. Give us your take on that.
For one, it's not on all songs. Mm-hmm. I assume that
I found that out.
that they're working on that,
right.
And it's also interesting that they're interactive. The lyrics, for one thing, they're like big. There's not as many
like
lyrics.
Karaoke.
Very similar to karaoke. You don't see words lit up as they're being sung, but the lyrics know where in the song you are because those specific lyrics are in front of you. And if you want to move farther on down into the next chorus or whatever, you can just scroll down to the next chorus, touch that chorus, the words of the chorus, and the song will jump right to that spot in the song. which is kind of
Yep.
wacky.
It is wacky.
I'm not sure that functionality will get used a lot, but I think folks move around within songs differently, and I don't
True.
think tapping lyrics is one of the ways, but I'm sure there's a use case for that at some point.
There must be. But the thing is too is they're putting it on all platforms through the music app. So whether it be on your Mac, whether it be on the Apple TV, and or it be on your iPad, or of course your iPhone, on your Apple TV, you can have a karaoke party, play the music, and people can sing along. So because you have all the lyrics popping up and showing just in those like that big bold, those big bold lists of words.
Is there not? There is not I have a very old Apple TV, and I actually tried to use it the other night, and it didn't work out very favorably for me. So
right.
For one thing, I don't even own a television, so it's attached to my my stepdaughter's TV, and it wasn't working so well. But is there not karaoke functionality on Apple TV right now with an app of some kind? That's a third party app or something?
I don't know. Well, that's a good question. I don't think so.
You would think it's primed for that.
You would think. I mean, there's plenty of apps. If you remember our good friend Barry Falk, when we went to his house and he had those games we played all the time, and at MacStack too, a lot of those interactive type of things.
Yeah,
you would think that they
karaoke simple. You're just playing a song and
you would think
the words are
You would think. We'll have to look. We'll have to go check that and get back to our audience here.
Yeah, I'm very interested to find out what the functionality of the lyrics, the way it works on an Apple TV.
Yeah. So we'll definitely check that out and let you know.
Yeah.
The other thing too is you put this in our notes here. That was great. I used to always be I used to have all these apps all the time. Dupin was one of my favorites from the Mac days of scanning my iTunes library to see how many duplicates I had. And, I had 60 to 100,000 songs in my library, and I would probably find about 10,000 of those would be duplicates.
Right. Exactly.
So Apple Music is now doing a much better job managing that, right?
It lets you know it doesn't. It's anti-duplicate right from the core of the app. Basically, as soon as you attempt to put the same song in a playlist, including your songs, basically, it will let you know if you have duplicates within that set of songs. Which is good. And if you go to add, I was just creating some playlists the other night, and I had already added a song. There was a duplicate in there, but it comes up with this warning letting you know that you already have this song in this playlist, and it tells you, you don't want to keep it. So you say we're removing it. There is no way. I don't think there is a way to put a duplicate in a playlist.
Yeah, no, it prevents it from it. So, and things are going to get even more robust once Mac OS Catalina comes out, because everybody knows the music app is iTunes as we know it is going to be gone, and the music it'll have its own music app on its own standalone. So you're going to definitely see some. I would venture to say some changes there too, helping with duplicates.
Sure. I think I'm going to be taking that day off work. Just to celebrate the fact that iTunes is dead. Long live iTunes!
That's right. That's right.
That is the worst.
All the days of managing our libraries and having multiple libraries, and it'd be interesting to see if you can have multiple libraries with the music app. To see where that went. So
that would be good. That'd be good. I think some people.
I've been beta testing and I haven't even looked at it yet. So
wow.
And
they just started adding way too much stuff to iTunes. Audiobooks and iTunes U and movies. It was just crazy. So I'm very, very happy that iTunes is getting split up, just like its iOS counterpart.
Yeah. So you also a good suggestion here. Talking about shuffle and repeat controls. They moved again on you.
Well, I think it's almost like they're hiding them. You got to click on the now playing and then scroll up to the place where up next is what's going to play after that, and then they're in that little section. I suspect they're really pushing you talking to your device or using the manual controls on your headphones to get to where you want to go. as opposed to actually interacting with the screen
Yeah.
to shuffle or to repeat. I just thought it was interesting that it just seems to be harder and harder to find these controls on there. And iOS 13 is no exception to that rule. Maybe in 14, they'll totally get rid of those controls altogether. Who knows?
Kind of like what they did, as I talked about last week, on the App Store, and not being able to find where the updates are anymore. You have to go tap your little picture at the top right to get to them to see where your updates are. So
yeah, that's one thing that they would like you to just have it happen automatically, which for a good portion of the people, that's probably the best option. But for geeks like you and I who really want to see what we're putting on before it goes down, we'd like to look at the update and see what they're doing.
Exactly. So and then the other thing is, let's go ahead and move on, and let's try anything else related to music. I think we covered things pretty well here.
The music app, yeah, for something that really didn't get that much change to it, we seem to talk about it enough.
Yeah, so check it out, dig it. Still drives me crazy every time I go into my car and it starts playing without me telling it to play. There's still no fix for that. If anybody out there knows a fix, I have not found anything, because
what's the issue?
When anytime your iOS device connects to your Bluetooth connection in your car, it starts playing music for no reason. And whatever the last song I played, yesterday I was playing Supertramp, one of my favorite groups, and I go back and it's playing. I mean, what the heck? I didn't have it on because I didn't hear it, but you look up your phone, it's playing. Like, oh boy. So I've yet to find any reasoning why that is and why it can't be turned off.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, since it doesn't do that with other Bluetooth devices, including your headphones. It doesn't just start playing. You stick even your AirPods. If you have AirPods, they don't start playing as soon as you stick them in your ears.
Well,
but they're connecting. What?
Yeah, because someone had asked me about this today, actually. The AirPods playing. And of course, I sent them a link, and I don't have the link. It was in 9 to 5 Mac. I remember that. The AirPods would play on their own, and there hadn't been a way to turn that off.
That's crazy. That's the same issue then. With it doesn't happen on my Power Beats Pros. I just stick them on my ears, and nothing happens until I actually incite it to do something.
Yeah, so I have to remember that article, and it was called "How to Turn Off Automatic Play and Pause."
Oh, so there's a setting then. It sounds like it's got a name. It should have a setting.
I'm going to put this in the show notes so everybody knows about this.
Yes.
Shout out to Rob, who was the one that asked me today, from my friend. So I know he listens. So yes,
Rob.
Yes. So there is a way how to turn it actually off automatically by playing on the play pause. If you have to go into the of course, you had to make sure your AirPods are paired to the right iPhone. Then you go to settings, then you go into Bluetooth, and then you find your AirPods, and then tap the information I next to it, and then you turn off automatic ear detection. That's what was that's. I guess that's where it's going to turn on automatically to play pause. So that's the only way I guess you could turn it off.
Really? That's not the setting, no? That can't be the setting.
Yeah, this article's back in January of this year, so maybe this is old.
Yeah, because you want it to detect that you have.
I was going to say, I read through this.
It does connect. Yeah, that's what happens with my Power Beats Pros. They connect when I stick them in, and it makes a little audible sound saying, "Hey, hello." You're talking to your phone.
I know the beat somewhere. Dun 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 dun. Is that what it makes the sound on the Power Beats?
No, it's something much more subtler than that, David.
That might, because I have two of them and they both do it.
No, it's
the AirPods just go da. I'm making sound effects here for AirPods. I'll have to get back at this. Yeah, I don't know why you wanted. It says automatically transfer the audio route from connected devices, but of course that could be different in iOS 13, because this is iOS. That's iOS 12 that this article is showing.
Okay, so yeah, we're dealing in a whole new realm here.
So maybe go back in here and look at this again. Go to AirPods. I don't even know if this has this. Yeah. We'll have to double check this thing again. Maybe this might have been wrong information, Rob, and if it was, I apologize. And we'll check it out.
Sure. But do you want to talk about the AirPods, that you can connect two AirPods to the same device at a time, since it's kind of the same?
Yeah, let's keep. Because I had it back down in the notes. Yeah, let's just move that up, and yes, let's bring that up. Have you tried doing that yet?
Try the new what?
Have you tried doing that yet? Have you tried to connect two at once?
I have not. No.
Well, what do you know? I have, because I will have a screenshot of it in the show notes, as you see. So I have two different pair of AirPods, and you're able, as the song plays, you're of course listening to it with one of them. Then it'll pick up the second one, and you just check it off in the box. The picture will show that, and then sure enough, I put one AirPod in one ear, one AirPod in the other one in the other, and they both worked. So that means that when you're listening to music or a movie or anything that's of sound, you'll be able to give you the second pair of AirPods that sync to your device, to your significant other or anybody else who wants to listen together, and in
an environment where you don't want the sound to be public. So that there's definite specific use cases for that. I'm just trying to think to myself, when would you use something like that? It might be like on a bus or something, I suppose. There's definite specific situations where you might want to have that, as opposed to having sound just coming out. Watching a movie, I would want it. I think I would want sound in the same room as the television.
Well, this I'm thinking more of an application of like when you travel and you want to be able to watch, maybe you're there with your wife and you want to sit together and watch something on an iPad, let's say. And
exactly.
Usually the case was you'd have to have one of those Y adapters, and you'd plug in two headphones, one into each port, and then plug that into the iPad, and then you got wires everywhere, and you got to stick close. But this way now you're actually going to be able to listen to the same thing with two sets of it.
And that's going to be awesome on the plane with the noise canceling AirPods that are coming out next month.
Yes, yes, that's right, and that comes out too. So. But yes, that's a new feature that was just added into 13.1.2. So that is able to work. Should try it with all my other devices because I have so many of them now.
Oh, so this ability to play on two AirPods is not even in the current version of the operating system.
Oh, it is. No, it is. I have 13.1.2. That's the current version. Not 13.2. 13.1.2.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Yes. So, all right. So great. And that probably covers everything we've talked about today with sound and music and all that stuff. So let's hit on a couple of tips I wanted to touch on. You brought up the Files app. I do love the Files app. I think they've done an amazing job with it.
What is it doing? It's bringing us a little closer to the same sort of computing experience we're used to on the Mac. But having said that, there's tons of folks out there who use iOS devices who don't use Macs.
Right.
And those people are usually on the other platform, Windows. And I find a lot of folks who are on Windows are clueless in terms of actually interacting with the files on their computer.
Right.
It's like I saved it. I don't know where it went. I don't know what it was called. I can't find this file that I created. There's a lot of folks out there like that. But I love Files because, for one, you're able to attach on supported devices a local storage. So you can plug a hard drive into your iPad, let's say.
You can.
And it shows up in this Files app, which we're finally at that point, which I love that. So you're able to increase the storage capacity of any given iOS device that obviously supports the hard drive. What do they call? What is Apple calling the connector, the USB-C connector on iPads? Smart connector? No, that's not the smart connector. That's the thing for the keyboard.
Well, you have the adapter that you have to have the USB to USB-C to USB adapter.
Right.
That allows you to be able to connect the that USB thumb drive or storage for that matter to to the iPad. Now, I will say I was beta testing that piece, and I will say that buyer beware, because some thumb drives may not work because they either have too much power and not enough power. So just be aware that you could encounter some issues depending on which type of device you have. For the most part, I was successful in plugging in thumb drives and being able to read them without a problem. The same thing like with SD card readers. You can have an SD card reader, plug that into it as well.
Sure.
And you used to do that before with no problem. But the problem is Apple made it so restrictive. All it was is if it didn't see photos on that SD card, then it didn't want anything. It didn't want any part of it. So,
right. They called it the camera connection kit.
Right. So it had to be a camera.
Yeah, that was silly.
And now that's a good topic, and you just hit on as far as other users besides Mac users. Then there's PC users out there, but people who listen to the show may be a PC user, but they have an iPhone or an iPad. So locations is one of the biggest things that the Files app has improved upon immensely. You have iCloud Drive, you have Google Drive that's accessible. You set up Google Drive. You have OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive. You can set that up as well. You have Dropbox. You can set up the Dropbox. Amazon Drive, as well as all the other apps that integrate into iOS will be a choice of where a location is. And if you just tap into those locations, there's your sharing of files right there. So those of you who have OneDrive or Google Drive, let's say, on other platforms, very easy to share all that stuff and be able to access it on your iPad or your iPhone.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you don't have to be running an app. It's all within the Files app itself. And you can also connect file servers.
File servers as well, yeah. FTP or STFP.
SMB from PCs.
SMB is the protocol. Yep, we still use that today. So yeah, really what the thing is they're making this more like a device. Could this be your full-time device? And I've talked about that a bunch of times, and it's getting super close. I'm telling you, it really is.
Another nice little touch is you can zip and unzip within the Files app, and you can also scan a document within the Files app and tell it exactly where to go. And also files that you download from other apps go into a downloads folder in the Files app.
Exactly.
So this Files app really is, I know Apple isn't touting it or saying, this is the next great thing, but for us Mac users who are used to this type of metaphor as far as saving files to a very specific place and being in control of those files, as opposed to having to go into an app to access a very specific file.
Absolutely. Yeah. So check it out. And we probably should be doing more discussion about this in the future, because there's just, like I said, there's just so much they can do as far as that goes. And I'm very, very, very pleased of that enhancement all by itself.
Yep.
The other feature I wanted to talk about that was added to probably one of the most popular apps, which is one of the standard apps on an iOS device, is the Mail app. They added two things that really stood out to me: the tap and hold feature. And really what that is that's in your mail inbox, you can tap and hold an email and what happens is the email opens with a pop-up menu offering you a range of options, such as a quick way to reply or forward or mark. Well, what did we have to do before? You had to tap the email, open it, of course, and then you'd have to go up the top and say reply. Well, this tap and hold allows you to being able to just open it up real quickly, take a quick peek and be able to view it, scroll through it, and then it brings you the dialogue of being able to reply right from that location, which was awesome. Have you tried that?
I have not. I told you I was interested to see what you're talking about. Even I didn't realize. So you weren't able to deep press on an email message within an inbox and preview it.
Now you can.
Yeah, that's good to have. That's for sure.
So it basically brings up somewhat of a share sheet, where the share sheet gives you the options like reply all, and forward, and all, and so on and so forth. So that gives you the option as well. So
I see. Yeah. I get it. Yes, so that's going to make it. It's very convenient, obviously. And share sheets, just in general, in iOS 13, are insane.
Oh yeah, they are. And I did talk about it last week, as well as at my Apple user group. And yeah, I probably could do another session on it, because it just really, they've done some great enhancements in the share sheet, no question. And then the other thing I was going to mention was the formatting has improved. You can select the text you want to format, and then be able to tap a chevron and to the right of the predictive text, and you can press. There's an icon, the AA for format, and brings up the formatting up there with the bold and italics, underlining the color and all that stuff. So it's a tap and hold type of feature. They added that too in the Mail app, which was pretty awesome.
I was looking for that, and I did not see that, because that's what you had mentioned that in the show notes. I was trying to play around with it, but I'll have to play around with that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the two features I wanted to talk about today in iOS 13. Next thing I want to move on is Apple TV. And again, there's another platform that doesn't get a lot of love. As soon as I updated to Apple iOS, or I should say TV OS 13, it came up with a What's New screen. And the What's New screen really brings up some of the greatest things I've seen in a long time. The home screen in itself is completely redesigned. Of course, you have to have, this is going to be the fourth gen model and higher, up to the 4K. Third gen folks, this isn't going to be here. So with the home screen, they're giving you even more robust ways of looking things. It does have a lot more. When you're scrolling through, you're able to see the movie or the preview right up in that screen, which is pretty awesome. I was quite impressed to what they did. I'm just trying to bring up the notes here. Here we go. So really, at the home screen, you'll be able to watch a full screen preview of new movies right on that home screen. So
okay.
So really, any hit music, top rated games, anything that is up is going to, they're giving you it as a preview. Because before, and like what you experienced, because you have the third gen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just had your apps, where now they're making it even more interactive with that, of course.
Yeah, that was overdue.
Yeah. So Apple Music, they added some enhancements. So you can the lyrics will pop up.
Right.
Of course, like we just talked about earlier, and then you can scroll and click and skip to your favorite verse, which you just basically scroll through and be able to tap the verse you want to listen to, and it'll bring you to that point. Pretty cool. Apple Arcade. Are you a gamer at all? Are you into gaming?
There's a couple that I play on a pretty regular basis. I don't go searching for new games, and there's no place where I go to discover new games now.
So I have not tried it yet. I did sign up for the trial. Again, it's only $4.99 a month, but things add up real quick. So we'll see where it is. I'm not a big gamer, but gaming is enhanced. You get, of course, access to all the games on there that we've talked about before, and plus all the popular controllers work on it, like the PlayStation DualShock or an Xbox controller will work on there, which is pretty cool. So
sure.
The other thing too, finally they've done this, is adding multiple users, a multi-user, so you can get your own up next list on the Apple TV app, your own playlists in Apple Music, and you can and all kinds of more things that are going to give you multiple user settings. And then a control center. They added a control center similar to what's on the on iOS. So being able to access frequently used settings, because always, as you know, with the and enjoying that wine as you pour it there. The control center, being able to access frequently used items, because you know how it is, Mike, with the third gen, having to go up to the settings and scrolling through all those settings all the time.
It's ridiculous.
Now you're going to be able to, just like we enjoy on an iOS device.
And what do you use for a remote on your Apple TV?
Well, I've got the remote that comes with it, but the built-in app on the remote for the iOS on iPhone works awesome. So you can.
That's what you use basically for the most part.
Both. I use both.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Depends on how it is. because the remote itself is limited. Of course, it's got the little touch tab on the top, so you can move around. The typing of the password is always a challenge. It's a pain. So,
And what year is this? 2019. We're having a hard time punching our passwords.
I know. So that's a little bit of what happened on Apple TV. We hadn't covered that. And you want to touch upon a little more about the Watch OS. I know you just, like you said, you just bought a Series 5. I stayed with the Series 4. I'm happy with it. I think there is not much of a subtle change between the 4 and the 5, other than the always on and the compass is really the two things that really stood out that I can justify right now, upgrading. I'm perfectly happy with this watch, and battery life is good and all that stuff. So,
and then you got the same size, like the form factor is the same.
Yeah, nothing's the same. The guts are pretty much the same too, from what they said. So, I mean, the processor and all that are very little change. So.
Exactly. But of course, there was an OS update with the new version of the watch. Right. You're able to do more things within Siri. Of course, there's a bunch of new, really cool watch faces. I want to say they're really taking it to the next level as far as having full face watch faces, and being able to morph those into circular if you want more complications around the edge. I thought that was a cool use of the same type of watch faces. They got the hearing protection thing, which basically measures decibel. Yeah, it measures decibels. I work in a somewhat noisy work environment, and it's nice to know that I'm staying within acceptable, a long-term exposure range. And of course, they came out with some of their own apps on the phone, voice memos, calculator, very usable, and reminders. The whole reminders thing, of course, that's new across all the platforms. And those apps, I think, they're stellar. It's amazing that you can have this functionality on your wrist. And of course, you can ask your watch what song you're listening to, and you don't have to go on your iOS device, your phone, I should say, to buy apps for your watch. So you everything that's downloaded in terms of apps on your watch come from the watch itself. Of course, most apps have a iOS counterpart to them.
Usually.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was just impressed with the set of features that this latest version of the Watch OS offered. And of course, I love my watch because I had the Series 2 before this.
Oh yeah, so you really your upgrade was well worth it.
Yeah, it was. It's a whole new thing for me for sure, and I'm digging it very much.
And you also mentioned Shazam. Shazam does work on the watch, which is pretty cool. You don't have to have your phone. You can just put your wrist out, and whatever song's playing, it'll tell you. Yeah,
very, very nice.
So as we wrap things up here, let's move on to our app picks this week. We're going to start off here with the app pick I found, and actually it was just out today. It's an app called Duet Cam, and what it is it allows you to be able to record both your front-facing and rear-facing camera at the same time, which is kind of cool. So you can go through doing narration while you're walking around and doing something, and then they see your face and they see the video of it of the actual subject that you're taking a picture of. I thought it was pretty cool.
So it's picture in a picture, basically.
Right, and this actually works with the 10R and above. So so if you have a 10R or a 10S. Those phones will work as well as the 11s with this app.
Right. Whereas the same functionality, is Apple adding that functionality into its camera app or no?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen at least that yet. So
I think I'm a little confused because during the presentation they had Filmic Pro there, and they were
Filmic Pro's their thing. Yes. Yep.
That's what I used to shoot my show with, is Filmic Pro, and that's another thing that's really compelling me to maybe upgrade, is the fact that Filmic Pro is going to be taking advantage of being able lenses. To.
I can't wait
to shoot video on 3 different sources and have it all happen simultaneously. Talk about computing power! Holy moly!
Yeah, no, I was like, that kind of blew me away. And Filmic Pro has not come out with the version that was shown during the event, and they stress that on their page. We'll put a link to that one in the show notes too.
Okay.
And that yes, it right now if you go to the App Store, they have a warning in there. Please note, multi-camera feature shown at Apple Keynote is not yet available. But Filmic Pro, yeah, that's another one. So I'll put those as two of my picks.
There you go.
What was it? It was a tag team there, and that app is really awesome in itself, and you can attest to it too because you use it. I have not used a Filmic Pro yet, and that one is
totally full featured. Yeah,
that one's $14.99 is the cost on that one. Which really, you think about it, that ain't much for the video editing that you do. So
no, it isn't. And there's a companion app with that as well that I run on my iPad. So you can set your composure while you're sitting in front of the camera. So what your phone sees is what's on the iPad, and then you can adjust everything right on the iPad: the white balance and the composition of your shot. Everything. So I record from the place that I'm sitting at. And the app is running on my phone.
It looks like they have a in-app purchase of a cinematographer kit. You didn't get that, did you?
Nope.
Yeah, that's
I'll have to check that out.
$13.99 you got to pay for that. So.
Well, usually a rule of thumb for me is if it's in the App Store and it costs a little bit of money, it's usually worth it. And these developers are putting out some good stuff.
Yeah. So you have two picks yourself. Always some very important needs of the two you picked.
Well, I put two there because I was just the top of mind. Carrot, I got because
love carrot.
You love carrots? Do you eat potatoes?
I love carrots, and I love carrot. The weather app.
The weather app, yes, it's a weather app. And the reason I got it is because my weather app that I had on my phone that ran in conjunction with the app on my watch was not compatible with the new watch faces that use the weather complication.
Yep.
So I went searching for what people thought was the best weather app out there, and of course that's another app that costs money. Whereas my other the one I was running before was a free app as far as I know, but I was able to access it through the complication on my watch. However, Carrot takes it to a whole nother level.
It does.
It's on my watch. It gives you the amount of sunshine there's going to be and chance precipitation given every hour. And they're also very smarmy with you, which I like smarminess. they call you meat bag. They do. They really put you down, basically. Hey, you doofus! Why are you looking at the weather? What's your whatever? They make up all these kind of crazy things that they say to you because weather is weather, and it can get boring after a little while. But totally full featured. You can run down 7-day forecast, touch any given day, and it'll tell you what they think the barometric pressure is going to be on that day, and how many hours of sunshine and the moon phase, and it's like everything you can possibly want in a weather app right on your wrist, and the complications go perfectly with whatever watch face that you're using. So that's why I picked Carrot. And the other app should just be, if you drink wine, you should have.
And I'm not surprised you picked it.
you should have the Vino app on your phone because
I do actually believe it, and I'm not a big wine connoisseur like you are.
But even if you're not, and I'm not a connoisseur, I'm an enthusiast. I'm the average wine enthusiast.
My apologies, you are the average wine enthusiast. Yes.
Even if you're unsure about a wine purchase, you just basically whip out the app, take a photo of the label in the wine store, and it'll give you reviews on that wine. How it sits, how it ranks in the world, basically, and how it ranks within whatever region the wine comes from. So, if you're wondering if that bottle of wine is worth $20, odds are it is, and you should pick it up. But Vivino will confirm that purchase for you and let you know what other people thought of it. So, yeah, Vivino, it's a free app too.
Amazing, it's free.
Yes, I believe they have another arm of the Vivino business is selling wine as well. So they're like a brokerage of sorts that you can get at.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're a awesome ranking system within the world, basically, for keeping track of what people think of wine. It's an amazing thing. I'm glad that a company like them got on top of it and became this. Whatever you want. It's like a central knowledge of all wines. So
I mean, when I was in Italy earlier this year. I was using it because we would go into the different wineries, and then all these labels were coming up. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, it's amazing how even like you say, these little wineries, these mom and pop shops, Vivino, odds are really high that it'll find the wine that you have a bottle of in front of you. Doesn't really matter where you're at.
Absolutely. So, boy, we just got this hour all the way through here, and it was just amazing how much stuff we talked about this episode. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate it. Mike, tell everybody how they can find you and what you're all doing these days.
Well, I can be found on the YouTube. You look up The Average Wine Enthusiast, and I do a show there. I try to put out a couple every month.
It's fun.
It's something that I really enjoy doing, and working with Final Cut Pro and learning new techniques. That's kind of where my creative juices are directed right now. So and I'm on Twitter. I am at Lippo. That's Lippo. That's an old nickname that I've just hung on to for decades. Check me out.
And not just the wine. No podcasts. Not just doing the wines. That's good.
Right, but I'm glad guys like you give me a call, because obviously you can tell I'm still up on the technology. And
you're missing the technology.
Yeah, I just wasn't into the. I did a news show for a period of time with Ken Ray, and with you as well. You're on the show. And I just got tired of the news cycle of the tech journalism type stuff. So I just wanted to get out of that and do my own thing. And something I was really passionate about is wine. And I would love to talk to you about you and your trip to Italy. Did you drink some wine, good wine, while you were there?
Well, there was a number of good vintages of wine I did drink, and got injured at the same time, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story.
But yes, there was lots of great wine in Italy. There's no question. And we definitely could probably have another hour talking about that. So
yes, I'd love to go there. That'd be awesome.
It's a beautiful place. So let's go ahead and wrap things up here. Really appreciate you being here. That was a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios, or you can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and we're also on iHeartRadio as well. Or better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. Again, Mike, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure, Dave. Thanks for inviting me, and hopefully I can be on again sometime in the future.
Yes, I think we've got another one planned already for November from what we talked about. So appreciate you being here. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you again soon.